Hi everyone, Katie Sutton here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy and the New Earth Now School. I'm recording this a little earlier than I usually do during the week because I just have some things that I need to share with you all, and it felt like today was the best day to do it. There's so much going on right now that when I get the urge to create a video, I've been thinking long and hard about how to talk with you all about this particular topic that is top of mind for me. And it relates to some of the themes that we have in February this month, two of them actually. The first is reconciling paradox and duality, and the other is accessing inner authority, which we will be focused on in Healing Circle this week on Wednesday, the 12th. But backstory before I even get into that, last Wednesday, I had a very significant download of information that I am still integrating. I am nowhere near done integrating it. It was a really high frequency and a lot of very clear direction and insight, and I'm still integrating it. But there are a few things that I can share with you all about what I saw and what I experienced in that activation, that meditation. The first is that I was taken into a higher dimensional frequency than I've ever been able to access before. And the guides shared with me that was a direct result of the balancing of the light that is coming onto the planet to balance the very dense, dark energy that is rising to the surface. And I hate to almost use those words light and dark because it still is too dualistic for what I experienced in this activation. Basically, what happened is I'm used to operating in 12th dimensional frequency when I go and talk with my guides, and they started activating me into the 13th through 18th dimensions as a way to start to get me introduced to some topics that I'll be sharing in my upcoming course that starts on February 24th called Resourced. And in that, I was shown very clearly that as all of these really dark things come to the surface and this density is brought to light, and we start to have to face some things that are really, quite frankly, hard to look at, there will always be a counterpoint or a balancing polarity frequency that comes in to balance those energies. And one of our themes this month is reconciling polarity and duality and paradox. And that is definitely something that I'm working on in my own being as I'm trying to integrate this very high frequency. And the way that I've been experiencing it, and the reason why I want to share this with you is because I'm hearing from a lot of clients that you all are also experiencing this, is ping-ponging between feeling positive and hopeful and feeling joyful and elated in the richness of what's happening, and also just witnessing the human cost of these systems and structures that are changing and falling apart, and the way that it's happening, because I do think we could have made other choices to do this slightly differently, but the way that we've chosen as a collective to dismantle these systems is going to have a human cost. And what I'm hearing from a lot of you is that you're struggling to deal with that because all you seem to be able to look at is the suffering and the struggle that's taking place, and you're having to pull out of that and remember that there's a bigger perspective at play here. And quite frankly, I'm struggling with this internally because I feel as the guides brought in this information of these higher frequencies and all of these positive things that we're moving towards, I kept saying to them, but yes, at what cost? And they are very quick to say to me, Katie, your humanity and your empathy and your ability to feel the suffering of those around you is such a superpower, but it can also be the thing that keeps you from creating the change in the world that you're seeking. And so there must be a balance to looking at the hard things and being with that and processing that and feeling the emotion of that, and also continuing to align with the positive creative potential and the infinite potential that also exists here in our human experience. And a lot of you are saying to me, I can't look away from this and I don't know what to do and I feel helpless, I feel frozen. what I'm witnessing as I work with individuals is that they think that they're handling it pretty well. But then when I drop into their energy body and I start working with their physical body and its connection to what's happening in the collective, most of us are in some level of fight, flight, or freeze right now. And I thank God that I spent the last 2 years working on my nervous system to even be able to speak my own nervous system's language. And even I sometimes get caught in this place of not knowing how to move out of a nervous system response. And I think that at a collective level, even those that are celebrating what is happening and can only see the positive and are not witnessing the negative are also in a fight response, I believe, and are being incited to anger and destruction. And then those of us that are seeing that and having the empathy and having the sadness for our brothers and sisters who are fearful of their rights right now are also in a freeze response to a degree because we don't know how to help. We feel somewhat powerless. And I think that is part of the lesson that we're working through of how do we come back to a state of connected neutrality where we can keep building the future that we want to see here and not give up, while also maintaining our humanity and our empathy and witnessing the pain of those around us and choosing to help and choosing to come together in community to help. And these systems and structures, I've been saying for years, the guides have been saying for years that they have to fall apart. And when I first started bringing that in 2 years ago in my New Earth Now course, I could feel the fear and the disempowerment and the pain of what that destruction would look like. And I knew it was coming, but it's one thing to understand the concept of it and the frequency of it, and it's a whole other thing to be living it. And so I think a lot of people are really underestimating the impact that what's happening in the collective is having on them. People are telling me that they just feel really frozen, and I get that. But that's exactly what we don't want, right? We want to continue creating. We want to continue being in joy. We want to continue celebrating the small wins that we have as individuals and as a collective, and not lose sight of the fact that regardless of how these systems fall apart, we still have to build something new in its place. And I've been through enough corporate restructurings and takeovers to know that the person who comes in and tears everything apart is not normally the same person who comes in and puts the new things back together and the new systems together. I think a lot of people have never been through that, and it shows, honestly. I think a lot of people have never had the experience of being in an organization or a part of a system or a part of a process that has completely just been dismantled because someone made the decision that it wasn't working, and witnessed the destruction that happens when we throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, where we destroy a whole thing and we scrap it and we start it from scratch because there's one part of it that's not functioning. And I used to do this for a living. I did project and process management for 12 years in the corporate space, and I went through so many iterations of new technology launches and new process launches, and the process is always the same. So you first get engaged and you listen to the people who have been doing the work and you ask what is broken and what needs to be fixed. And when you do that, you learn about the fact that the people in the system are not the enemy. They are actually trying to do their best in something that is broken. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing, and maybe this is what's necessary, I know it's probably what's necessary, or it's at least what we've chosen as a collective as the most expedient path. That's not really the way that it's going, from what I can tell. It seems it's going to be a little bit more ruthless than that. And some of you might argue that's the only way for us to create change. But coming from someone who was a change manager, that was literally my title for 12 years, I disagree. But I can also see how ultimately we're going to the same place. It may just not be comfortable. It won't be comfortable. I know it's not comfortable for a lot of you. as we navigate this. And each and every one of you are going to have to figure out what your line in the sand is of how engaged you stay in this dismantling, or if you make an exit because it feels like you can't be a part of it anymore and you need to go elsewhere, to maybe even to a different country in order to feel safe. And I know, though, for me, that my work is here. My work is here to empower individuals to see them through this fearful experience that we're having, and to help them to know that there's hope, and to help them to know that even in those moments where they are not feeling safe, that there are people here that care about them and want them to be well. I know that's where my work is, and I have to keep teaching. And one of the things that I said to my guides when this download of these higher dimensional frequencies came in is, I said, this feels a little wrong. You're asking me to teach people about these higher and higher frequencies when we're in such a difficult place as a human race, and we're struggling so mightily. And they said, Katie, that's how you're here to serve. You're here to keep bringing the bigger and brighter light and helping to anchor that with as many people as you can, so that we do have a place, a destination that we're moving towards, that we're keeping our eye on. And you're not here to bypass the hard stuff. You're here to help people through those hard things too. And you're doing that. And here I am reconciling this with all of you as well, and figuring out what my role in the collective consciousness evolution is day by day. And so if you're feeling like you're struggling with that, or you're a little lost, you're definitely not alone. And the other thing that we're working on this month, or one of the other things that we're working on this month, is this idea of activating inner authority and accessing inner authority. And that's what we need. We need this centered connection to self and to our power, and to our own personal connection to source, to begin to hold that middle frequency, that neutral connected frequency, so that we can navigate and we can keep moving forward. And that's what we're going to be working on in Healing Circle on Wednesday. And then coming up on the 24th, I'm really excited to be, and a little scared, honestly, to be bringing in this new course that I'm teaching. It feels really important. It feels as important, if not more important, than the work that I brought in a couple of years ago in the New Earth Now School. And I'm really looking forward to teaching you all about how to resource yourself, how to reconnect yourself to source, and navigate as these things are dismantling, and stay true to what it is that you came here to create, and empower you to do so, and teach you about dimensions 13 through 18 and all of these things that they're giving me as downloads, and how to connect more directly to your own guidance and to the helpers in the unseen realms who want to see you through and are cheering you on in this process of transformation that you personally are going through, but also what we're going through as a collective. And one thing I learned that I had forgotten the other night is that we do have so much help. I had gotten really focused on just trying to get through the day-to-day experience that I've been having, which has been quite hellacious since December. Quite honestly, I've been through my own initiation in these last few months with the death of my father and everything that has come out around him prior to his death and the way that he passed. And I have found a strength inside of me that I didn't know was there, and I'm glad for that. But I also had forgotten that life isn't just about suffering, and life isn't just about being with the hard things, that you can ask for help and you can receive help, and you can have that support come in miraculous ways. The experience that I had last Wednesday is probably one of the most significant spiritual experiences I've had in a long time, at least since at some point in the summer last year. And it reminded me of the beauty of our connection to the divine and balancing that with our humanity. And so I hope that you will join us for one of these courses or the Healing Circle if you need support. I also want to say that we have to remember not to stop dancing and singing and creating. And I will be working with my husband on Saturday, for those of you that are local to Charlotte, to the Charlotte area, and we have a ecstatic dance and The theme for this one is going to be about dancing is resistant. We are resisting the things that we don't agree with when we remember to dance, when we remember to celebrate, when we remember to be active in our bodies and celebrate being in a body. That is an active resistance to the injustice that we see in the world. So if you want to dance your heart out and have some fun with us and work through some things together, we have that coming up on the 15th as well. I'll put a link to that event below this video too. I hope you all are doing okay. I know I'm holding a lot of tenderness for myself in this process as I integrate these new awarenesses, and I shared probably an 18th of what came through. I have pages and pages of notes from this experience, and a lot of that is going to be built into this resource course that I'm teaching soon. But I hope that you all get some downloads this month. I hope that you get some clarity. I was so grateful to get some clarity from my team and from my higher self recently. And I'm holding that vision that you all can find your way, because when we are stuck in freeze and we are not creating and we are not remembering our power, the energies that don't want us to do that have won. Regardless of what side of the fence you sit on, we don't want to be in a disempowered place. And please remember your brothers and sisters and have compassion and empathy for those who may not feel safe as these systems are falling apart, and those in the marginalized groups who unfortunately are taking the brunt of that fear right now. And remember your humanity, remember your kindness, remember your compassion, and hold that connected neutrality and try not to live in fear yourself, and hold that vision that we're all going to get through this together and that we're going to learn so much in this process and we're going to figure this out. So that is my very heartfelt message for you this week. I hope it lands. Please comment. Let me know what's bringing you joy right now. Let me know how you're feeling. Does this resonate? And I hope to see you in one of these classes or courses or at our upcoming ecstatic dance on Saturday. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.